It was early morning in Leeds. Near the Heathrow bus stop, Mimi was standing with her father. It was cold, but she was excited to go her school. The bus was late, so she was looking around, unable to stand still. Suddenly, she noticed something she had seen before but never thought anything about it. What is that, Dad? She asked, pointing at the small memorial with bright red flower placed around a statue of a soldier. Her father looked where she was pointing and paused. He had passed the memorial countless times on his way to work, but he had never really stopped to think about what it meant. "Mm, I'm not sure, beta," he said softly. "It's some kind of memorial, I guess." "But why are there so many red flowers? And why does the soldier look so sad?" Mimi asked. Before her father could attempt another answer, a gentle voice spoke from the bench beside them. "Those are poppies, dear," said an elderly British woman with kind eyes and silver hair. She was wrapped in a warm coat, a small red poppy pinned on her lapel. "And that soldier? Well, he represents all the brave young men they went away to a war a very long time ago." Mimi's eyes widened with curiosity. She had always been drawn to stories, and something in the old woman's voice promised a tale worth hearing. "Would you like to know why we remember them with the poppies?" the woman asked. Mimi nodded eagerly. Even her father leaned in, genuinely interested now. "It was more than 100 years ago," the woman began, her voice taking on the rhyme of the old remembered story. "There was a great war, the First World War, we call it. Young men from all over Britain, barely older than boys really, left their homes and families to fight in a faraway land." The old woman's eyes seemed to look beyond the bus stop, beyond the morning street of the Leeds, to a time long past. They sailed across the sea in great ships, packed together like sardines, most of them excited for the adventure, not knowing what lay ahead. Among them was a young man, just 19 years old, with the dreams of coming home as a hero. She paused, letting the weight of the story settle. The war was fought in muddy trenches, long narrow ditches dug into the ground where soldiers lived and fought. It was cold, wet, frightening. The sound of gun never stopped. Many young men who went to fight never came home. Mimi's father gently placed her a hand on her shoulders, sensing the sadness in the story. "But something beautiful happened in those dark places," the woman continued, her voice growing softer. "In the battlefields of France and Belgium, where so much sadness had happened, bright red poppies began to grow. They pushed up in the mud and the destruction, covering the field with their brilliant red petals." "Like the one here?" Mimi asked, pointing against the memorial. "Exactly like those, dear. A soldier who was also a poet wrote about these poppies. He said they grew between the crosses, row on row, between the graves of soldiers who could not come home." The woman reached into her pocket and pulled a small old photograph. It showed a young man in military uniform, smiling at the camera. "This young soldier I told you about, the 19-year-old who dreamed of coming home, he was my grandfather." Mimi gasped softly. Her father's expression grew more serious. He did came home, thankfully, but he was never quite the same. The war had changed him as it changed so many. He used to tell stories about his friend who did not make it back, about how the poppies remind him that even in the darkest places, life finds a way to grow. Is that why people wear the red flowers? Mimi asked, noticing the poppy on the woman's coat. Yes, sweetheart. Every year, especially in November, we wear poppies to remember. We remember the soldiers who fought, those who come bound change, and those who never come home at all. We remember so that we never forget how precious peace is. The bus finally appeared in the distance, its red from growing larger as it approached the stop. But why do we need to remember if it happened so long ago? Mimi asked. The question that had been forming in her young mind. The old woman smiled, the kind of smile that has both sadness and hope. Because, my dear, remembering those their sacrifices alive. When we see a poppy, we remember the freedom and the peace are not free. They are the gift of the brave people fought to give us. And when we remember, we are more likely to choose kindness over anger, understanding over hatred. The bus pulled up with a gentle hiss of brake, and Mimi and her father prepared to board. The little girl turned back to the woman. Thank you for telling me about the poppies, she said. I'll remember. I'm sure you will, dear. I'm sure you will. As the bus door opened, Mimi looked once more at the memorial, at the statue of the sad soldier, surrounded by bright red poppies. But now she understood. He was not that sad, he was proud and grateful and hopeful that story would remember by the little girls like her. In a place like Leeds, in a cold morning when the bus was late. And in her heart, the 5-year-old Mimi made a promise to never forget the story of the poppies, the brave young men who made it possible for her to go to school on a free morning in the Leeds, surrounded by peace. The pool bus pulled away, and the memory remained as vivid and enduring as the red poppies that bloom each year in remembrance.